Hello, BookTube. It's Monday, and it's cloudy and it's freezing cold here in Boston at the end of April, and I got some mail. I got two packages in the mail, and that's not much. There were days in our days of wine and honey back in 2019, 2018, where if I had got two packages in one day, I would have said that's not worth filming. I'll just open them and I'll talk about them down the line. But now I don't get much in the mail. So I got the latest issue of Esquire. It was almost completely incomprehensible. From beginning to end, it was almost completely incomprehensible. The closest thing that it came to comprehensibility was an interview with the actor Chris Evans. And that, those things are so highly choreographed that they're not particularly interesting to read. Although he does have a dog. he has a dog and a great affection for his dog in the interview, so there was that. But I also got two packages, so I thought we'd go through them together and see what we have. Because I think some of you are missing my mail hauls as much or more than I am. So let's see what this first one is. It's a finished copy of something. What have we here? Oh no! Oh no! This doesn't go to me. Oh no! Alright, this is from the great folks at Yale University Press. This has a pub date of late April, 21st of April. I'll have to check. I'll have to go online and see if that is still true. A lot of those pub dates have been pushed back. Not really sure why. I'm not really sure what you're gaining by pushing your whole calendar back, but I can understand, on one level, I can understand why it would be an appealing, obvious solution to the fact that bookstores are closed. I just don't know that it is a solution. But this is a book that I would ordinarily pop in the mail to Minnetonka, to the moose-haunted snow tundra of Minnetonka, to David Murphy, who I am, in addition to being a professional book reviewer, those of you who are new to the channel, quite a few of you who are new to the channel, and if you are, good Lord, you mustn't have any idea what I'm talking about at any time. That's the thing. It's the problem with doing many videos a day over many years, is that you start to develop this entirely self-contained vocabulary that goes back hundreds and hundreds of videos. And I've got some embittered, thousand-mile stare, long-term veterans of this channel who have been around from the very beginning. They understand all of these dropped allusions, but newcomers probably don't. So, first of all, welcome. I'm afraid it doesn't get any better. But in addition to being a professional book reviewer, I am also the editor of an online literary journal that runs book reviews called Open Letters Review. And we are the new incarnation of an older website called Open Letters Monthly. And we run new stuff, new reviews all the time, and it's great fun. It's a great venue. If you are interested in trying your hand at reviewing books, feel free to let me know. And my email will be on this video. Feel free to let me know. But over the course of time with Open Letters, I have latched onto other people to write reviews. And sometimes those people have areas of speciality. And David Murphy, I'll leave a link to his channel. If you've ever watched his channel, he is a finance wonk of the first water. he loves and finds genuinely interesting finance and economics. And ordinarily, with a book like this, I would immediately pop it in the mail to him, and I don't do that anymore, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess it's not impossible to go to the post office. People must do it, but this is the definition of a frivolous trip. So, well, anyway, I'll figure out what to do with it. This is Robert Skidelsky, and this is What's Wrong with Economics, a primer for the perplexed. So what have we got here? What's Wrong with Economics argues that mainstream economics' quest for scientific certainty has led to a narrowed vision and a reliance on orthodoxy that is unhealthy for the field, as well as for societies basing policy decisions on flawed economic models. Noted economic thinker Robert Skidelsky explains the circumstances in history that have brought about this constriction. His clearly written critique takes aim at how economics is taught in today's universities. Perfect for David Murphy. He's experienced how economics are taught in today's universities. Skidelsky faults the focus on modeling, which leaves students ill-equipped to grapple with what is important and true about human life. He then proposes an approach to economics that includes incorporating elements of philosophy, history, sociology, and politics into the course of study. He ultimately argues for a return to the ideal set out by John Maynard Keynes, that the economist must be, quote, a mathematician, historian, statesman, and philosopher in equal measure. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I have no idea. So I don't know. I will try to maybe get this to David and see what he can make of it. I mean, there's no point in me having it anyway. Even if he can't make anything of it, there's I'm not going to understand not more than three paragraphs of this thing. Uh, so that's book number one. Is a finished copy of something that I need to send out in the mail. I don't know when I'm going to do that. So let's see. Let's see what this next one is. It's heavy, whatever it is. Oh. Oh man. Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay. I ordered this. Uh, wow. Oh my. Well, this is going to be so much fun to go through. I ordered this online because when I noticed that that this was available. It's a graphic novel, and it collects individual issues that I have collected. I have the individual issues, and I've often thought, boy, it would be great if this was collected in a paperback volume that I could put on a bookshelf. And here it is. This is Fantastic Four, and this is Heroes Reborn, the complete collection, Volume 2. There's a horrible choice for the front cover. That would have been a much better choice for the front cover, but this is these are the adventures of Marvel Comics' first family, of the comic book with which they started the new era of comic books. Back in the 1960s, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the Fantastic Four, a group of friends who take an experimental rocket ship up into orbit and are bombarded by cosmic rays that give them superpowers. Again, this is just a staggeringly bad choice for the cover of this book. I understand that you can't, in order to keep the price down. Although this is $40. Yeah, this is $40. In order to keep the price down, you probably don't want to commission anything new, a new cover for these reprint volumes. I understand that, but there are plenty of images in this book that you could use for the cover. That, for instance, feature all four members of the Fantastic Four. You've got the front cover of this thing, and you've got the Thing, Ben Grimm. You've got Sue Richards, the Invisible Woman. You've got her brother, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. But you have to turn it over to get Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, the leader of the team. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There are 80 million images in this book that would have made a better cover. But the reason it says Heroes Reborn is because after 50 or 60 years, Marvel decided to do a company-wide reboot of all of their comics. This is always a bad idea. This should never be done. If you are a mucky muck at Marvel or DC Comics, first of all, I'm sorry that your industry is gone. But if it ever returns, and you're listening to this video, don't ever do a company-wide reboot. Okay? Don't ever do it. It's always a bad idea. And nobody listens to me, so Marvel did that. They did a Age of Onslaught where all the heroes were radically redone. And it didn't go over with fans. Fans didn't. Marvel poured a whole lot of first-rate talent into those Heroes Reborn books, but fans didn't want it. Of course, there's no such thing. There are hardly any such things as new comic book fans. All comic book fans are old comic book fans, and they're traditionalists. They wanted their old characters back. Marvel eventually yielded, as companies always do. DC Comics has done the same thing 2 or 3 times. You always have to yield. You always have to undo your company-wide reboot. Why bother? But anyway, Marvel Comics eventually, after a couple of torturous years, they had Heroes Return, where all of the heroes who had been revamped in this new Heroes Reborn universe were brought back in their original incarnations with new creative teams and #1 issues. All of their series started over again: Thor and Iron Man and the Fantastic Four and Captain America and whatnot. And the Heroes Return runs on a lot of those books were terrific. They really were. They were well worth the agony that fans went through. Thor's relaunch was terrific. Captain America's relaunch was just fantastic. One of the best runs on the character that ever. And this Fantastic Four run started out good and got better. And these issues are drawn by, I wonder if it tells you on the cover, they're written by Chris Claremont, who shot to fame as the author for the X-Men, the all-new Uncanny X-Men. And they're drawn by Pasquale Ferry, I believe. Salvador Larroca did most of the artwork in here. And these issues they're full of grand adventure. They're full of new faces and great realizations of old faces. You've got Doctor Doom there, but also the Submariner, a bunch of other people. And yet, and I love the run for that. It's very, very interesting stuff. But there's a problem. Two problems, actually, with this run that you would think would sink it in my estimation. And if it didn't sink it, you'd think at the very least it would stop me from ever spending $40 on this thing. And that is that in these issues, Chris Claremont is at his absolute worst as a writer, and Salvador Larroca is at his absolute worst as an artist. Which you wouldn't think would make a good run on a comic book. Salvador Larroca is... He can be a very exciting, evocative, panel by panel artist, but he cannot tell a story at all. And I don't mean just the complicated story that the writer like Chris Claremont is going to make up. I mean just a story of what is happening in a panel. There are many, many hundreds of Salvador Larroca panels in this graphic novel, in these issues, where if you took the word boxes off it, you wouldn't have any idea what was happening in that panel. None at all. You wouldn't even know what you were looking at. Is it furniture? Is it someone's foot? I have no idea. That's pretty bad. That would not have passed muster in the golden age of Marvel Comics. Stan Lee and his original roster of artists, George Tuska, Gil Kane, Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby himself, would have said, no, kid. No. You got a lot of energy and there's a lot of great visuals here. You're using perspective and architecture and whatnot in wonderful ways, but I can't tell what's going on here, and the reader has to be able to tell what's going on here. You need to make this a little clearer. And Claremont in these issues is no better. Oh my God, his characters, first of all, they all sound exactly the same. And that's a little bit embarrassing, but it gets downright shriekishly embarrassing when he introduces children characters who talk. I wonder if I could find an example. Probably it would take me too long to find an example. But the examples are painful, just painful. Yeah, I'll never be able to find it. But he does in these issues. He does introduce Valeria Von Doom, and she is an alternate reality version of Reed Richards, Reed and Sue's daughter, who enters into the mainstream continuity. And I was very happy for that because I really liked seeing that character. I really liked. I thought she added a lot. I liked that very much. But oh my God, the writing of that character, where she sounds exactly like Chris Claremont when she's arguing with a villain, saying, "Au contraire, mon frère, I don't think so," or as the great Dumas once said. And she's supposed to be a 13-year-old girl. Utterly ridiculous. It's amateurish in a way that Chris Claremont never actually succeeded in growing out of. Because that is amateurish, because as a writer, you're supposed to be able to figure out that you're doing that. You're not supposed to need anyone else to point that out to you. You're supposed to figure out that you're doing that and figure out that it's wrong. And Claremont never did. As far as I know, he never has, and probably never will. All of his characters sound like overeducated mid-50s virgins. Men, neckbeards. Even the little kids do, and all of the villains do. So, but boy, oh boy, the artwork is just amazing. Giant tidal wave. Let me get you another example here. Okay, well, here you go. Here's a famous panel. This is the Fantastic Four and all of their friends are sitting around at dinner, and Claremont is just narrating the whole thing like it was prose, like it was a prose novel. He's just narrating the whole thing. Rather than reducing it to dialogue, he's just telling you what people said and how they said it and their tone of voice, and it gets a little bit tiresome, but there are great moments in here all throughout. So plenty. I have gone back to those individual issues. I made a point of scouring used bookstores and old comic shop back issue bins for as much of this run as I could get, and here it is. I think there's probably enough for one more $40 volume of this, and then I'll have all of these issues, and that is great. Actually, I don't know how many are in here. Okay, 15 issues thereabouts are in here, maybe 16 or 17, and a couple of annuals. So there's quite a bit of stuff in here. It's not actually overpriced for $40 because it's all color. See, look at that. That panel is actually a very good example of this guy's artwork and how good it can be, how really, really good it can be. And there are many, many examples like that where Salvador Larroca is just... I wish I could find an example of the dialogue of Valeria von Doom, because it really is... She is the worst example of... Okay, well, here she's confronting She-Hulk, who has been mind controlled, and Titania and the Absorbing Man. So 3 superpowered characters who are allegedly much more powerful than she is. And when she confronts them, there she is confronting them. She says, "You get one warning: surrender now, or suffer the consequences." And that is not actually how little girls talk, but that's okay. I'm going to have a great deal of fun rereading these. Just wonderful. So, and it's a reflection of our current reality. I had to go out and order this because it ordinarily what I would do with a thing like this would either be go to my LCS, my local comic shop, and give them the much wanted money for this, or I would wait to see if the local Barnes & Noble was getting it just as a matter of course and buy it there with an employee discount. I have a lifelong employee discount at Barnes & Noble, and it's fairly hefty. And I would ordinarily do that, but that local Barnes & Noble has been closed for a month. No foot traffic, no customers, no staff, and apparently no deliveries. So the days when I used to wander in there and see what new releases I could get are over. I hope they come back someday. But in the meantime, that is our mail haul for today. So we got this. This is just pure candy for me. I'm going to slice off an hour at some point and just sink into this. And since I have it, I can get rid of those issues. When I'm able to get rid of anything, I can get rid of those issues. And also, what's wrong with economics? So we have Robert Skidelsky's book, What's Wrong with David Murphy? So that's our mail haul for today. A little bit of everything. And that's Monday. And I can hope that maybe we're off to a good start. Maybe we'll get a bit of mail every day this week. That would be great. I'll gladly share it with you if I do. So I'll wrap this up for now, but we'll see what comes tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.